It was supposed to be a day I'd remember for all the right reasons, but instead, it turned into one of the most hurtful days of my life. I woke up early, expecting at least a small, happy birthday from my girlfriend, Lisa. She was still asleep when I left for work, so I figured she might be planning a surprise for later. Throughout the day, my phone stayed silent. No call, no text. I kept making excuses in my head, telling myself she was probably busy or saving it for the evening. When I came home, she was lounging on the couch, scrolling through her phone like it was just any other day. No decorations, no cake, not even a card. I finally asked, "Did you forget what day it is?" She looked at me blankly for a second, then smirked and said, "Oh, was it your birthday today? Wow, my bad." Her tone wasn't apologetic, it was almost dismissive. I tried to explain that it hurt my feelings. Birthdays weren't just about gifts for me, they were about feeling appreciated. Lisa, however, laughed and said, "You're upset I forgot? That's so childish." Her words felt like a slap. I wasn't demanding a parade, just a little recognition from the person I loved. We ended up eating dinner in silence. I couldn't taste the food. My chest felt heavy. Every time I looked at her, I kept hearing her voice mocking me for caring. I started wondering if maybe my feelings were too much for her, or if she simply didn't care enough about me to remember something important. The next day, I thought maybe she'd make up for it, but nothing happened. Not even a late acknowledgement. Instead, she acted like nothing had happened at all. That's when I realized this wasn't just about a date, it was about how little she valued my emotions. I started thinking about our past arguments. Whenever I tried to express my feelings, she would call me dramatic or overly sensitive. I'd always brush it off, telling myself every relationship has flaws. But now, it felt like a pattern, like my feelings never mattered to her. That weekend, my friends threw me a small surprise party. They had balloons, a cake, and even a silly banner. It wasn't extravagant, but it made me feel seen and loved. The contrast was impossible to ignore. My friends cared more about my birthday than my own partner did. When I got home that night, I tried one more time to talk to Lisa. I told her how much it had hurt me, hoping she'd finally understand. Instead, she rolled her eyes and said, "You're still on about that? I don't keep track of every little date. If that's a deal breaker, maybe you should be with someone else." Her words were cold and final. Something inside me snapped. It wasn't just about the birthday, it was about respect, empathy, and the basic kindness I expected from a relationship. I realized I couldn't keep pouring my love into someone who couldn't even remember the simplest things about me. I packed a bag and left that night. She didn't even try to stop me. No apology, no, please stay. Just silence, like my absence meant nothing. It hurt, but it was also liberating. Over the next few weeks, I stayed with a friend and began to process everything. I realized how often I'd made excuses for her lack of effort. How many times I'd convinced myself I didn't need much, just to avoid feeling disappointed. One day, while going through my things, I found a photo from our first year together. Back then, she'd planned a whole picnic for my birthday, complete with my favorite cake. I couldn't figure out when or why she had stopped caring, but the difference was stark. Months later, I heard she had moved on with someone else. A part of me wondered if she'd treat them differently, but I knew I couldn't dwell on it. People don't change unless they want to, and Lisa had made it clear she didn't see anything wrong with her behavior. Now, I celebrate my birthdays surrounded by people who genuinely care. Last year, my friend surprised me again, and this time, I didn't feel any sadness in the back of my mind. I realized I'd rather be alone than with someone who laughs at my feelings. Looking back, I'm glad she forgot my birthday that year. It was the wake-up call I needed to see that love without empathy is just an empty shell, and I deserve so much more than that.